If you have been playing Overwatch for the past year now, you've probably figured out that there are a few characters that are just a bit better than others, specifically among the supports. Today, I'm not going to cover Brig or Zenyatta, but rather Baptiste, who over the years received countless unnecessary buffs that really make you wonder what the developers are on, and better yet, if I can have some. Now I get it, Baptiste isn't hard meta right now. The current Ball Diva compositions are typically played with Zenyatta and Brigitte together. I could cover Brigitte, but quite frankly that isn't my specialty, and I kinda stole this idea from my friend HOLYSHIFTKID that already made an explanation of how to fix that character. So go and watch that video. It's very well made and pretty insightful. That being said, I'm staying within my means and covering Baptiste, considering the fact that if and when Brigitte does get nerfed, Zenyatta's flaw of being a glass cannon will be extremely exploitable, making Bap the next busted support pick. Like mentioned previously, Baptiste does very well in brawl and spam compositions, but not so great in dive compositions. I think we can all agree as a community and a player base that he can do a little bit too much when he's the optimal pick. Whenever the viability of all other characters outside of dive is questioned, there is definitely a problem that needs to be addressed here. That problem being, Baptiste just does too much right now. So in the wake of an incoming content creator change, I am proposing some new changes that will not completely kill the character, but perhaps balance him out to excel at what his niche really is. There are two main things to look out for when solving problems of Baptiste's kit: his raw output, otherwise known as his healing and damage, and his immortality field. Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but it is hard for me to justify nerfing the immortality field compared to nerfing his overall output, as pure numbers just isn't his niche. To be honest, that's Moira's niche. Immortality is a unique and powerful ability that may seem broken, but it can be balanced by fine-tuning his kit. Before we fine-tune the kit though, let's cover its current state. His primary fire shoots 3 round bursts that deal 24 damage each every 0.58 seconds, allowing him to get 2 damage bursts in before his healing grenade shot recharges. This technique is known as weaving. Speaking of the healing grenade though, it heals for 70 on direct impact and 50 if it splashes to heal the target. Keep in mind that Baptiste can't use his grenade to heal himself currently. The rest of his kit is pretty simple. His regenerative burst heals his allies for 15 and himself for 30 per second over 5 seconds. The immortality field is self-explanatory. If you're sitting in the field, you don't die as long as it's up. It is on a hefty 25-second cooldown, however. His ultimate amplifies all projectiles that pass through it, doubling their value. Lastly, Baptiste has fantastic mobility in his exo boots, where if he crouches, he can then jump higher based on how long he was crouched for. So let's break it down. How do we actually fix Baptiste? Starting with his damage, the change includes decreasing the rate of fire to 1 burst every 0.9 seconds. To put this into perspective, this means you have to choose between 1 action every 0.9 seconds, either to heal or to damage. This will drastically reduce the insane amount of value that he can provide in basic shield wars and force his team to play around his utility rather than the raw outputs he provides. This makes characters like Cassidy and Hanzo better than characters like Doomfist and Reaper when paired with Baptiste, as the latter are typically better with Moira's high healing outputs. This also makes the flank Baptiste playstyle almost impossible to pull off alongside his upcoming regen burst changes. The healing grenade change includes making the grenade heal for 55 no matter how the character is impacted. However, Baptiste will now be able to self-heal himself, but don't fret, this decision is explained by the regen burst change. The regen burst change no longer heals Baptiste, but rather heals his entire team for 20 per second over 5 seconds, a total of 100. This change makes the ability have more impact on the team rather than just Baptiste, as the ability was just a panic button previously. There's a reason I tell players to worry about regen burst last at lower elos, because he can currently make up for his poor use of this ability rather frequently. Balancing the ability in this way also nullifies the effects of Ashes Dynamite, which is an important interaction for such a powerful character. The immortality field is now on an 18-second cooldown as compared to a 25-second cooldown. Since his raw impact will be diminished, his utility needs to be more available. However, it isn't as easy as just throwing the field. The field will slowly lose health as soon as it is deployed at a rate of 30 HP per second, meaning it will destruct after 5 seconds if left untouched. This change heavily punishes poor lamp positioning, while also shifting Baptiste into a utility-based niche rather than the raw output, a common theme for these changes. The abilities that are not being touched are his passive and his ultimate. The passive is important to Baptiste as it defines his movement in the game. The garage door is seen as incredibly strong, but when you factor in the lesser healing and damage he will be able to pull off, the ultimate will generate much slower, making the power feel a lot less oppressive. This also makes playing to specifically charge window to win a weaker option when finding a win condition before a fight. And that leads me to the end of the changes. What do you all think? Is this something that should be added to the game? Was Baptiste given too much grace or not enough? Let me know down in the comments below, in my Discord, or at twitch.tv/PazSwagger every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Get that Overwatch 1 SR while you still can with Baptiste. But until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.